This video was sponsored by KiwiCo. More about them at the end of the show. On February 15th, 2013, over Chelyabinsk, Russia, an asteroid heavier than the Eiffel Tower slammed into the atmosphere. And then, 30 kilometers above the ground, it exploded. This violent event was brighter than the sun, but so high up that it was silent for a full 90 seconds after the blast, which only made the devastation worse.
So you see all these videos of people, look at what was that? They see the smoke trail in the sky, oh, that's amazing. And then, just when you think nothing's going to happen, the shockwave hits, it blows out the windows. 1,000 people got glass in their face, in their eyes, because they're looking through the windows.
The shockwave damaged thousands of buildings and injured 1,500 people. What makes the Chelyabinsk incident kind of embarrassing is that the very same day, scientists had predicted that an asteroid would make a close flyby of Earth. And they were right. 16 hours after Chelyabinsk, a similar-sized asteroid, known as Duende, came within 27,000 kilometers of Earth's surface. That's closer than satellites in geosynchronous orbit. But while they correctly predicted this close approach, they completely missed the unrelated asteroid that exploded over Russia. And the truth is, this happens all the time. We're really not that good at detecting asteroids before they hit us. Since 1988, over 1,200 asteroids bigger than a meter have collided with the Earth. And of those, we detected only 5 before they hit, never with more than a day of warning. With all our technology and all the telescopes across the Earth, not to mention the ones in space, why do we struggle to detect dangerous asteroids before they strike? What are the chances that a big asteroid will hit, wiping out most, if not all, life on Earth? And if we saw one coming, what could we do about it? Asteroids are the leftover debris from when our solar system formed. 4.5 billion years ago, rocks and dust clumped together into molten protoplanets. Inside, heavy elements, metals like iron, nickel, and iridium, sank into the core, leaving lighter silicate minerals on the surface. Some of these protoplanets grew into the planets we know today, but many more collided with each other, breaking into pieces. These pieces continued orbiting the sun and smashing into each other and breaking into even smaller fragments. These became the asteroids, which is why some of them are rocky, loose conglomerates of gravel-sized rocks called rubble piles, and others, from the cores of planetesimals, are mostly metal.
So this is an iron meteorite, and essentially it's a piece of a core of a small planetary body, basically a small planet, that formed 4.5 billion years ago, differentiated, so the core material fell out, and then this thing was smashed apart by a collision with another asteroid. That's the oldest thing you'll ever see.
Most of the asteroids have stable orbits between Mars and Jupiter in the main asteroid belt, but some have made their way closer to Earth, and these are known as near-Earth objects. They are of greatest interest to us because of the threat. They only reflect around 15% of the light that hits them, so our best chance to see them is when they're fully illuminated by the sun and began drilling. It's named after mining engineer Daniel Barringer, who was the first to suggest it was formed by a meteorite impact. The prevailing view, even up until the 1950s, was that it was created by...
Projectile doesn't really exist after the impact. Little pieces can survive. But this 50-meter body was basically obliterated. So he was looking for something that did not exist.
He spent 27 years mining the crater, drilling down to a depth of over 400 meters. Cooked alive.
Cooked alive as they're walking around. The only animals that had a chance were the ones living in tunnels under the ground or maybe in the water. They were able to come back and take over without having to deal with the dinosaurs as a major obstacle.
What are our chances that Earth gets hit by another 10-kilometer or bigger asteroid?
In your lifetime, assuming you live to be 100 years old, you have a 10-kilometer impactor like the KT extinction event every
sizes. For every 10-kilometer asteroid, there are roughly 1,000 1-kilometer asteroids, and they're still capable of doing a lot of damage.
1 or 2 kilometers is capable of causing local but massive damage. So that means, instead of wiping out the entire world, you would wipe. What about the ones that are 800 meters? That's still pretty savage if it hits.
And this is possibly where the greatest threat of asteroids remains. A few hundred meters is large enough to obliterate a large city, but small enough that we haven't detected them all yet.
We're missing a lot of 100-meter sized projectiles, and those guys are big enough to cause substantial damage on the Earth depending on where they hit.
So it could destroy a city.
Yeah, it would knock down the buildings in the city. It would